Hello everyone, I'm Viti and welcome to the bridge.
Hi, I'm Akhilesh.
Alright, I understand Akhilesh that you're still digesting that India has touched the mark of 25 medals at Paris Paralympics, something that is going to go down in tomes and tales because the way it was achieved itself is going to become a legend. Kapil Parmar. When I say about legends, Parmar from Bhopal, Madhya Pradesh has won India's first ever judo medal in either Olympic or Paralympic, a sport which has remained elusive of India out of reach for so many years at the Summer Games has finally got a chance to witness how the world seems from that elusive Paralympics podium, and Kapil Parmar has done exactly that. Even though he entered as world number one in his own category, Akhilesh, but he wasn't exactly the main topic, the main discussion of of the whole games, right? How do you think he has performed? What was your first reaction when he took down those that Brazilian to create this history?
Yes, big moment. And judo is a sport where, like, in a span of a second, the contest could be over, and
Hmm.
it could go either way. Kapil had the presence of mind to take advantage of a small mistake the Brazilian had made. The Brazilian is actually world number two, so it is a world number one
Yeah,
versus world number two, and it's not an easy contest. Kapil had to
yeah,
be at his best and had to take opportunities like he did in the match, and he did deliver. I earlier he did lose in the semi-final against an Iranian opponent who he has lost to before in the Asian Para Games final as well. So
yeah,
he was very good in that match. Kapil was trying to push the Iranian until the end, but it did end up maybe it's a sort of a controversial call from the referee, but it is what it is, and he had lost that game by an equal, and he came back strong and he took it in the bronze medal bout against the Brazilian Oliveira. It's a big moment. First time we have judo participants at the Paralympic Games, and we are coming back with a medal, and a historic medal, and that medal that made us reach the 25 mark. So Kapil Parmar will be remembered not just for being the first ever para judo medalist at the Paralympics, but also the one who made us reach that silver jubilee mark.
yeah. Exactly. Now, when we talk about Kapil Parmar, right? So there are a lot of incidents and tomes and tales about athletes where incidents happen, life happened to them before sports, right? But for Kapil, the story is altogether different. Before life happened to him, or incident or accidents happened to him, sports happened to him. So Kapil Parmar got introduced to sports because it runs in his family. He has four younger brothers and a sister, and the middle brother practices judo. And because of that, in 2014, he got introduced to this very sport. So it's safe to say that Kapil was already familiar to the mat, to the actions of judo, to the world, the familiarity was some sort of he had the potential to create a career in bodied as well. But unfortunately, in 2009, when he was just at the age of 9, he an accident in an accident he suffered an electric shock from an electric motor while he was trying to fetch water from his home, right? And because of that, the effect fell on his fingers. But regardless of that, he had to suffer the long term impact on his eyes and his vision and visual capability got reduced time by time because after he got struck with this accident, Akhilesh, okay, he was in coma for almost 6 months. And then after to go ahead and recover from some sort of accident also becomes a tale of recovery. But just when we think that something like that happens with an athlete, because as I mentioned, that Kapil was already familiar with judo, he was already a judoka in some capacity, and then to just recover just from the accident and get onto that mat again. But Kapil Parmar did exactly that. In 2017, he was introduced back to the world of judo. He was introduced to blind judo, and in 2018, just in a year gap, he came back and touched that podium in national championships. And after that, he has been consistent on the world stage. As I mentioned, he was an all he was an established judoka before the accident, before he encountered with the accident. So after 2018, when he made his presence felt at the national level, in 2019 he went on to win the gold in 2019 Commonwealth Championship in Birmingham, and after that his journey has been quite smooth. He has made his presence felt time and again at Asian Para Games in 2020, silver medal, Commonwealth Championship, as I mentioned, he bagged that elusive gold, which sort of made him declared him arrived. Then IBSA Judo Grand Prix gold medal again, and then again in the 2024 edition, again he got the gold in the same year, 2024. In 2023, he was coming with a crown on his head, and bronze in 2023 IBSA World Games. So his list of achievements, his list of being present on that mat with the golden crown made him a potential medalist. He was entering as world number one in his own category, and this is exactly where people should have kind of take him seriously. Do you think it didn't take him seriously?
Um, yeah, I think he was sort of had to be taken seriously for what he's achieved,
Hmm.
and
Yeah.
he did he as you did mention there was a long list of achievements which he's done, and last year he also won a gold medal at the Grand Prix in Alexandria, which is a very significant achievement. He really felt what of the put a boost in his career, boost in his rankings, and
Hmm.
that's why we saw him stand at world number one. And being
Yeah.
world number one, and it's one thing, but taking that world number one into the Paralympics at the biggest stage and winning a medal for your country is a total different thing. We've seen before that world number ones might not necessarily translate into a medal at the Paralympics or the Olympics. But Kapil
Hmm.
Parmar handled the pressure in the right way and delivered big time. And he did look quite solid in the first game. I think he was also against a good judoka in the Venezuelan, but he took his height advantage and sealed it. It was going a little tight to till about for first 2-3 minutes, but then uh, he again got an ippen on top of the Venezuelan judoka. And for
Yeah.
those who are not familiar with judo scoring, I'll just sort of sum it up as well. In judo, you have two types of scoring. One is a wazari, where you just throw the opponent down, and you don't have all three of strength, speed, and control while throwing the opponent on the back. But if you have all the three of strength, speed, and control while throwing them on the back, you get a direct tip in, and that the contest ends at that point. But Wazari is when you don't have one of these three, and that means you need two Wazaris for the match to end. So these are the ways you score the point, and it did look like Kapil Parmar took in both his games which he won, he went directly to an Ippen, so he wanted to end the contest. So he was in sheer control of his moves as well, and that really looked good from Kapil Parmar's side. And he's just getting started in a career. Only 24 years old. He's come in his debut Paralympics, and he will continue going, trying to win the medal in the international stage. And yeah, it's an important milestone for judo in India, I'd say. And who knows, we could see more judokas come and participate both in the able bodies as well as the blind judo category in the future.
Yeah. Exactly. So I think the number 25 particularly is going to go down as legends, because now when we are going to talk about the table after the games are over, people are going to remember that one medal. As I mentioned, there are 25 medals, but the significance of that 125th medal is gone 10x up because of the gravity of that win, right? And that's exactly how Kapil Parmar will also be remembered. Now, when you were talking about all the terms and the knowledges of judo, I think probably now will be a good time for India to start learning these terminologies of what actions the judo have, because now finally have a medalist, a historic medal in either Olympic or Paralympic. Now we do not are in any space to say that we have a medal at the Summer Games. But Kapil Verma standing on the podium today will state the otherwise because of what he has done. Um, on that note, there was one more event that was going on parallelly. That was the recurve archery. Now, in recurve archery per se, uh, Harvinder Singh was coming with the crown of being a Paralympic champion. Probably could have been a burden, but the result did turn out in our favor. Yes, Harvinder Singh and Pooja Jatyan put ahead an incredible fight, but it didn't fall in our favor, unfortunately. Now, when India started their campaign, they were against Australia, and it also went till the extremity, till that habit of thriller that Harvinder Singh has made India used to. But it's good that it fall into India's favor, 5-4. And after that, India in mixed quarterfinals, India was against Poland. But in this particular event, we absolutely dominated, right? And the semifinals, it was against the Italians. I think I've never seen, at least in this Paralympic Games, I think Italian archers, especially if I talk about the team per se, the way they were gathered, because were times when we were hitting a seven, we were hitting an eight. But if I'm talking about Italians per se, but I've never seen someone so calm and collected under such pressure situations.
Yes, I think the Italians stepped up big time in that semi-final match. Looking at their quarterfinal performance, it was not up to the mark, especially the male archer from Italy was shooting
Mm.
sixes and sevens in the semi-final, but then started off with 10-9, 10-10 in the final. In the quarterfinal, started with 10-9,
In the
10-10 in the
continents.
semi-final. Uh,
Mm.
was just like changing the shifting the gears when it mattered, and that's what made Italy too good for India, too hot for India to handle. India
Yeah,
did both Pooja and Harvinder recovered well and shot well in the last two series, and maybe even the second series. But their first series was a very slow start, and that sort of cost them the match, I'd say, because after that, even though they came back strong, the Italians were just very strong in that match. But regardless, I think there was some spell of very like excellent shooting from both Pooja and Harvinder
yeah,
in the lead up to the bronze medal match. But
yeah,
there was some inconsistencies as well, and that sort of cost them, especially after going 4-2 up in the bronze medal match. When you have the opponent hitting a 7 and a 9, then that's a moment
mm,
where you can actually capitalize, and India needed only a tie in that series, and didn't even
yeah,
need to win that series. And that's just a moment where you should have sort of kept held on to your nerves and capitalized and sealed the
mm,
bronze medal, but it just wasn't to be. It was a great performance, a great run, memorable run for the uh, duo of Pooja Jatyan and Harvinder Singh, but they come back with falling just short. But I think there are a lot of positives to take away, especially with Harvinder taking the gold, but also for Pooja
yeah,
Jatyan for in her individual event as well. She was in a very
yeah,
dominant position. So
yeah.
there's a lot of positives to take. There's only forward to move from here and take a lot of learnings from the Paralympic Games for both these archers. And Harvinder has achieved a massive feat himself on his own right, but there will be a lot of learnings as well.
Yeah, definitely. But you mentioned, right, this is the fourth place finish in recover the compound archery as a whole. But the realization of what the mixed team has lost was pretty evident when in the last shoot of shot, um, Jatyan, she hit an eight. And it was obvious on her face what how close the competition has been, because as we talked, like the quarterfinal, the bronze medal match didn't go to the shoot-off. India was not exactly in the great form in the first two series. In the second series, it started with a six and then a five, then an eight and a 10. It's not exactly any archer would like to perform when they are fighting for a summer game medal, right? But as you mentioned, India did make a comeback eventually, leading it to the extremity, to the final thriller. And when India did have a chance to, actual chance to convert this in a bronze medal, to script yet another history, uh, it started with Nate, and the realization of what was lost was pretty evident, as you can see in the picture. It was pretty evident on Pooja's face, because they knew that the opposition is going to do their best. And And even Pooja was the one who wanted to hit their best, but definitely from my expression, it wasn't something that she was looking to hit. Eventually, the whole pressure and the burden fell on her mother's shoulder because people, I saw in chat that people eventually wanted Pooja to perform, and she did, right? We don't see these kinds of performances in recover archery at the Summer Games. India has remain out of contention for the largest part of the history, especially at the recurve archery. It was Harvinder Singh who announced India's presence at the Tokyo Paralympics and then eventually converting the color of the medal into gold at Paris Paralympics. And this is exactly how a process and a journey looks like. Harvinder was able to convert it. And when we talk about Pooja, she, as we mentioned, she eventually dominated the individual event as well. And her potential was her potential reflected the same way in mixed recurve event as well. And the way they have performed is absolutely stunning. Yes, it's eventually and unfortunately a fourth place finish for India in mixed recurve archery. But if you look at archery as a larger picture, fourth place finish at a Summer Games itself is a big achievement because we have not been able to mark our presence in the map of archery for the longest time. But Harvinder Singh and Pooja finished fifth, fourth in mixed recurve archery, which itself is a big achievement. Yes, disappointing. Yes, they will not have a medal in this particular event, but as far as recurve archery is concerned, we are not coming back home without a medal. We are coming back with the golden glory. And with that, Kapil Parmar, Harvinder Singh, Pooja Jatyan, that makes sums up the idea of this live 25 medals. India has finally entered in that incredible number, a historic medal that's going to go down in tomes and tales when we'll revisit the table. Parma, the first ever para judo medalist, first ever judo medalist in either Olympic or Paralympic events. He will be coming with a historic and illusive medal around his neck. That's it for today. Thank you for joining this live, Akhilesh. Thank you everyone for joining this live. And please stay tuned to the bridge. Please do not forget to click on like, share, subscribe. Follow the bridge for all the updates in Paralympics and off the mat as well. Thank you for joining. Take care. See you next time.